my name is Marcello, and I want to welcome you to the Source Audio Video Design Group's YouTube channel. On this channel, we will discuss home audio and video, personal audio, home theater, home automation, and speak with some of the movers and shakers in the music and hi-fi industry. So please consider subscribing today to show your support and ring the bell icon to get notified of future live streams and videos. Today I will share my impressions on the Meze Elite from Meze Audio and Renaro Isodynamics. The video will focus on the build quality, design, and some of my sound impressions about the Elite. The Elite is the new flagship for Meze, sitting above the Empyrean in their headphone lineup. Although the headphones look similar and employ some of the incredible design elements from the Empyrean, there are some significant differences in the build and sound quality between the Meze Elite and the Empyrean. Each Meze Elite is hand-assembled in Romania, with just the aluminum frame taking about 20 hours to make. The Elite uses the brilliant, patent-pending support system wings with a genuine leather headrest and carbon fiber headband for ultimate comfort. The Elite has a beautiful complex geometrical imprint with a deep black grille with intricate carvings surrounded by the silver finish of the CNC machined aluminum frame for a killer-looking pair of headphones. Meze knocked the ball out of the park with the visual design aesthetics of the Elite, just as they did with the Empyrean. The Elite uses a newly designed driver created by Renaro, which was researched and developed for 3 years. The Elite has very low distortion. According to Meze, THD measures under 0.05% through the entire frequency range. The Elite's impedance is 32 ohms with a nominal SPL of 101 dB per 1 milliwatt, allowing it to be driven by most amplification sources. Weighing in at only 430 grams, the Elite is exceptionally comfortable even for longer listening sessions. Like the Empyrean, the Elite uses the isodynamic hybrid array technology, building on the pioneering technology found in the Empyrean headphone. The MZ3SE driver, according to Meze, delivers more selective acoustic performance to the various areas within the structure of the ear. Advances in diaphragm material have allowed Meze to create a more high-resolution sound quality, with better accuracy, tighter dynamics, and superb clarity thanks to the brand new Renaro Paris diaphragm. Also like the Empyrean, the Elite uses a dual-driven system with different voice coil configurations. The switchback coil is more efficient at reproducing the lower frequencies and can be found on the upper part of the driver. The spiral coil is more efficient at reproducing middle to high frequencies and is positioned directly over the ear canal. I found the balance between the coils to be more balanced sounding when compared to the Empyrean, which I will discuss a bit more about in the sound impression section of the video. The Elite uses what I consider to be the best ear pad system in the headphone industry with their ferromagnetic ear pads. Why other manufacturers haven't found a way to implement a similar system is quite surprising. It shows that among many other technology first from Meze, they continue to implement and create valuable advancements for the head-fi user. The Elite comes with 2 sets of pads so that you can get 2 unique sounds from 1 set of headphones. The Alcantara Pads that were initially developed for the Empyrean in 2018 and the new hybrid perforated Alcantara interior with genuine leather exterior pads. There are noticeable sonic differences between the pads. The Alcantara pads have more bass presence and a warmer signature, whereas the new hybrid pads present more air and less overall quantity of bass, which I will touch on a bit more during the sound impressions portion of the video. You have the option of upgrading the cables to a silver-plated cable or the copper cable. For this video, my impressions were all based on the stock Meze cable terminated with XLR. If you have the budget to upgrade the cable, I recommend it, as the stock cables are a bit basic and tend to get tangled when using them. You also receive a cool-looking high-strength aluminum suitcase with foam inserts, 3 termination options for the stock cable, and a 2-year warranty when purchased from an authorized dealer. There are many more tech specs and design features we could discuss. Still, for the sake of keeping this video at an optimal length, I will link to the rest of the product specifications and design info in the video description. Okay, let's get into my sound impressions of the Meze Elite. I utilize the Cord TT2, Ulong Audio DA1 with external power supply, the Macintosh MHA200 with Amprix input tubes, the Audio Research i50 integrated tube amplifier, the Amps & Sound Agartha with Western Electric 300B power tubes, the Cord Hugo 2 to-go combo, and the SP2000T from Estelle & Kern for most of my sound impressions. I also use 2 similarly priced headphones, the Audeze LCD5 and the Final Audio D8000 with Pro Pads as references for others to compare my sound impressions of the Elite. I didn't have the Empyrean in the house to compare side by side with the Elite, so I will reserve most of my impressions between those 2 headphones for a possible future video. Generally speaking, the Empyrean has a larger quantity of bass, darker sound, less treble energy, trippy, more exaggerated soundstage, and an overall sound signature that I am absolutely in love with for electronic music. The Empyrean doesn't play as well with all genres of music as the Flagship Elite does. The Empyrean is the closest headphone I have heard to the sound you can listen to inside a multi-million-dollar nightclub or a Root Society dome at Burning Man. The sound signature of the Elite is a departure from this, allowing both headphones to be equally crucial in Meze's lineup depending on the listener's preferences. Since there are two sets of pads offered with the Elite, I will base most of my sound impressions on the new hybrid pads to keep things more organized and accurate. However, to expand on what I mentioned earlier in the video, the Alcantara pads present a more significant, more robust quality of bass that is not quite as tight and defined as the new hybrid pads. The overall signature is a bit warmer to my ears than the new hybrid pads, with a bit less air and soundstage accuracy. So based on the genre of music or amp pairing I'm listening to, I may lean towards one pair of pads over another depending on the sound I am going for. If a user is looking for more reference yet still a musical quality of sound, they will likely lean towards the new hybrid pads offered with the Elite. The Alcantara pads offer an enjoyable change-up for a less technically accurate, slightly warmer sound. Starting first with the bass of the Elite, I found it to be slightly elevated above neutral, tight and well defined. The Elite sounds to have more quantity of bass than the LCD5, but the definition and resolution of the bass regions from the LCD5 are tighter. The bass guitar on Money for Nothing, played by John and Neil, has more weight and sounds richer when listening to the Elite versus the LCD5. When the kick drum hits on this track, more weight is behind it when listening to the Meze Elite. Listening to the D8000 with Pro pads versus the Elite on The Road to Hell from Chris Ray, the sound signatures have some similarities, with nice bass signatures a bit elevated above neutral. Listening to Time from Pink Floyd, and when the bass guitar comes in, there is significant weight and girth from the strings from both headphones. I appreciate the bass on both headphones. The D8000 does sound like it dips a bit deeper in the sub bass than the Elite, at the expense of sounding looser than the Elite. Listening to Snarky Puppy, Shofukan, the cello bass and the percussion instrument sounds tighter and better defined from the Meze Elite. The mid-range of the Elite has a slightly more relaxed sounding upper mid-range compared to the LCD5. Vocals sound warmer from the Meze Elite. Compared to the LCD5, some tracks can come across with a bit more edge sounding more forward from the LCD5 versus a slightly less energetic upper mid-range of the Elite. Listening to the Logical Song from Supertramp is a perfect example of this. Listening to Money for Nothing from Dire Straits, and the Meze Elite has more meat on the bone from the electric guitar than the LCD5, as well as Mark's and Sting's vocals are a touch richer with just the right amount of warmth, which I definitely enjoy. Listening to the Elite versus the D8000, and the mid-range is very good on both of these headphones, each having a touch of warmth in the mid-range that is very pleasing with strings and vocals. The guitars on Time from Pink Floyd have more energy, definition, and bite when listening to the Meze Elite, making the D8000 to my ears the slightly warmer and more relaxed of the two in the mid-range. When comparing the treble of the Meze Elite to the LCD5 sounds to have more treble energy, sparkle, and air. The electric guitar on Dogs from Pink Floyd shows that with a more neutral or slightly brighter amp, the LCD5 can present the electric guitar's tone a bit brighter than the Meze Elite does. The treble to my ears is a bit smoother sounding on the Elite. The synthesizer on number 2 from Nils Frahm sounds more defined and crisper on the LCD5, which on this track I prefer, so it will come down to the recording and the amplifier and DAC you are pairing with each headphone. The Logical Song from Supertramp and the woodwind played by John Helliwell can sound a bit sharper when it hits the higher notes and less natural from the LCD5. I think individuals who are willing to use EQ, prefer a bit more treble and upper mid-range presence, or have a warmer amplifier may like the LCD5. However, individuals who desire a bit smoother treble and may own a neutral or slightly warm amp may lean towards the Elite, as far as synergy is concerned in the treble region. When comparing the D8000 and the Elite, the electric guitar on Time from Pink Floyd never sounds overly harsh or shrill when listening to the D8000, but it could also sound a bit undefined compared to the Meze Elite. The Elite has more treble presence than the D8000 that can be heard on the opening of Time from Pink Floyd. Talking next about dynamics and punch, the LCD5 is more dynamic sounding with a bit more punch to their sound signature, but the Elite is no slouch and has decent punch, sounding a bit more dynamic than the Meze Empyrean. When comparing the Meze Elite to the D8000, and the Elite outpunches the D8000, sounding more dynamic across several of my test tracks. My preference for dynamics and punch landed with either the LCD5 or the Elite on every track I listened to with several of the amplifiers I tried. Talking next about soundstage and imaging, both the Meze Elite and LCD5 are excellent. The LCD5 has more defined imaging and depth to the soundstage than the Elite does. The soundstage sounds more accurate and realistic from the LCD5 versus the Elite. Neither soundstage is vast, but also not intimate. Listening to All Along the Watchtower, Jimmy's vocals are imaged closer and more intimately from the Elite than from the LCD5. Again, on number 2 from Nils Fromm, the soundstage sounds more three-dimensional with more height and depth when listening to the LCD5. Listening to Man in the Long Black Coat from Bob Dylan, and again, the LCD5 has my preferred soundstage, sounding less intimate and slightly more accurate than the Meze Elite. Comparing the soundstage of the D8000 to the Elite, and the D8000 is more intimate sounding. Imaging is also not entirely as well defined as the Elite. The Elite more accurately and dimensionally produces a more believable soundstage, especially when listening to Pink Floyd Time. The drums, guitars, and vocals are easier to place on the soundstage and have better clarity and definition. Listening to Snarky Puppy, one of Jason from TSAV's many excellent music recommendations for me, and on the track Shofukan from the We Like It Here album, the Meze Elite sounds more open and 3D than the D8000, imaging and defining instruments better on the soundstage. When comparing the detail and resolution of the Elite versus the LCD5 has a bit more resolution and micro detail presentation. However, the Elite has plenty of detail and resolve to be highly enjoyable. Overall clarity and sound goes to the LCD5. The window is cleaner and easier to see through, seemingly imaging sounds at different heights and depths better than the Elite. In contrast, the Elite sounds to have a slightly wider horizontal left to right soundstage. Listening to Time again from Dark Side of the Moon, and the resolution and micro detail presentation of the D8000 isn't quite as capable as the Meze Elite. The Meze Elite has more clarity from the bottom of the frequency range to the top. Listening to Wanna Be Startin' Something from MJ, and it's evident to my ears that the Meze Elite is a step above the D8000 for resolution, macro, and micro detail. The timbre of the Meze has a more musical sound signature, sounding a bit warmer than the LCD5. Guitar strings have more meat on the bones. Vocals have less shout from the Elite, whereas the LCD5 vocals have more presence to them. Strings are more energetic and lively on the LCD5. The LCD5 is more analytical sounding than the Meze Elite. Vocals have a bit more warmth from the Elite versus the LCD5. Overall, the Meze Elite has a slightly sweeter sounding timbre. Piano keys on the Elite, especially in the higher range, have less zing to them, sounding more enjoyable to me on Private Investigations from Dire Straits. Comparing the timbre of the D8000 to the Meze Elite, and the D8000 is the warmer sounding of the two headphones to my ears, with a very natural timbre for a planar magnetic headphone. Listening again to Snarky Puppy, Shofukan, and I feel the Meze Elite more realistically portrays the tone of the trumpets, percussion instruments, and cymbals. This track is so good with the Meze Elite. I got tingles listening to it, bobbing my head and tapping my toes. Both headphones have excellent timbre. If you prefer a slightly more relaxed treble and elevated bass region, the D8000 with Pro Pads could be a good fit. Or if you prefer a bit more treble information with a tighter, more defined bass region, the Meze Elite could be a great fit for you. Let's talk briefly about how the comfort and build quality compare, then I will discuss some of my favorite amp pairings for the Meze Elite and wrap up. Comfort and build quality go 100% to the Meze Elite, as the clamping force is extremely comfortable. The headband system of the Elite is one of the best, if not the best in the business. The pads are softer and better fitting than the other two headphones. However, I'm not taking anything away from the D8000 or the LCD5, as they are both superb built headphones. It is just that the Elite is top tier in my opinion, with also the best visual design aesthetics of the three. Some of my favorite amp pairings with the Meze Elite were the Core TT2, which I generally preferred with a warm filter to give a bit more warmth and overall natural sound. The MHA200 with Amprix input tubes sounds very good with a Meze Elite. I enjoyed listening to this combo as the pairing was synergistic, improving the mid-range and making the soundstage sound more holographic. The Audio Research i50 and the Meze Elite with a Chord Hugo 2 to-go combo as its DAC was excellent with the Elite, increasing the soundstage height and width and enhancing the openness and detail in the mid-range for a spectacular combo. The Amps & Sound Agartha with Western Electric 300B tubes was also a great pairing, bringing more life to vocals and presenting one of the more holographic sounding sound stages for the Meze Elite. Lastly, the Elite paired well with the SP2000T and the Hugo 2 to go for a portable and transportable listening option. I will give more detailed sound impressions of these two units with the Meze Elite on my upcoming follow-up video on the SP2000T, so don't forget to subscribe today to our channel. In conclusion, the only real things I want more of from the Elite would be a little more punch and a slightly more three-dimensional and deeper soundstage. This of course can be helped with an optimal amplifier and DAC pairing. Lastly, a better stock cable would be great, as I am not a fan of how tangled the cables that are included tend to get. So I highly recommend anyone serious about purchasing the Meze Elite consider upgrading the cables to either the copper or silver braided cable from Meze or another manufacturer. The Elite sound quality is one of my favorite headphones I have heard for an overall musical, yet still highly resolving listening experience. They are effortless to drive, beautiful to look at, and synergize well with many different amplifiers I tried. They also come with my favorite Romanian Hitman case, the best magnetic system for changing ear pads, and easily are one of the most comfortable headphones in the world. I hope you enjoyed this video presentation of my experiences with the Meze Elite, and the information I shared helps you determine if they might be a good fit for you. If you are in the greater Los Angeles region or just looking to make a trip to hear the Elite or other incredible headphones, the Source Audio Video Design Group's showroom and headphone bar have one of the largest selections of audio enthusiast headphones to listen to in the country. In the description below, I will link to the Source Audio Video Design Group's website and more info on the Elite and other audio gear discussed during this video. What do you think of the Meze Elite? Let us know in the comments below, and show your support today by smashing the like button for us and subscribing for more new upcoming content. Until next time, friends, always remember, let the music be your guide.